Hey! What's up, Improvement Warrior? Jason Yun back with you again. Welcome back to Improvement Warrior Podcast. This is going to be episode number 82, and this is a webinar that I put up in the Improvement Warrior University group on Facebook. It is going over daylight savings time, or is it daylight saving time, whatever it is. It's stupid, and it's coming up here on November the 2nd, so usually seems like a week earlier than it usually is. So yeah, we're going to go over all the disadvantages of why it sucks and whatnot. And if you are in one of those states that, or countries that do not do it, kudos to you and good for you. But things are going to get suckier. It's why November is my least favorite month, followed by December. But this November we'll be going to Florida, and then going on a cruise, and then December I'll be going to Mexico. So maybe those months are not going to be as bad. So we'll see. But what we're talking about, well, if you're new here to Improvement Warrior Podcast, this is a alternative health podcast. We talk about things that even the alternative people don't talk about. Circadian rhythm, mitochondrial health, cold thermogenesis, grounding, DHA, all the stuff that you need to be a strong person. We still talk about fitness, we still talk about nutrition, but we talk about it in a circadian way, because the timing of everything is what matters the most, and if the timing in you breaks, then you will eventually break. So, make sure you're on the newsletter, improvementwarriorfitness.com/NL. That is where I send out everything going on in the world. But in today's episode, we're going to be talking about circadian rhythm disruption, sleep deprivation, obviously, the mental health effects of daylight saving time, government policy, why it was implemented and why it has not stopped, economic impact, the public health risks. We'll talk about blue light management, dietary influence, grounding practices, the historical context of it, the productivity decline, energy savings myth, because it is a myth. It's not saving energy. It's just like the LED light bulbs, which don't save you energy. They save your electric bill energy, but for you, which is what matters more than a light bulb and your electric bill, it doesn't. Talk about health mitigation tips, natural light exposure, and a comprehensive approach. So, but what is going on in my world? So I got my blood tests back and was not happy with them. So I'll go over with a couple of the highlights. But apparently A1C is not on their list of a natural or a regular blood workup anymore. So apparently you need to ask specifically for it, which is absolutely stupid. It should be included on everything. So A1C over the last 3 months gives you a snapshot to your blood sugar, basically. So why it's not on here, I have no idea. But and I also have my blood test from 2024 and 2022. I cannot find 2023 for some reason. I think that's the first year I started with this new doctor, and the new doctor's blood panel sucks compared to my old one. But testosterone was at 813, so, and I'll tell you after I do the blood test, I'll tell you some things that I've been doing differently in terms of my Kaniki, because I found out that Kaniki is not made of the kosher materials. But 813 was my testosterone. My iron was 52, which was low. And this sheet doesn't give you like a reference range or anything, so it was 52. But they said it was low, and they wanted to schedule a 3-month appointment, and they wanted me to start iron supplementation. But I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And then they also told me my cholesterol was high, but it was not high enough to be put on a statin drug. So they recommended that I go on a low cholesterol, low fat diet. When they told me that, I literally laughed out loud at them. So my cholesterol was 217, HDL was 82, LDL was 124. And 217 is actually low for me. My belief is it is because I started NewCalm. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's something that I started in August, and I'm basically going to use it the rest of my life. It's kind of like it's not really a meditation app, but you can meditate to it. It basically puts your meditation on steroids, but it's different music tracks that basically change the brain waves, that literally change the brain waves in your brain. So there's one for sleep. I sleep with it pretty much 90-95% of the nights now. There's one for deep focus. There's one for igniting your brain. That's what I use when I'm like writing and need complete and utter focus. There's one for concentration. There's one for there's like a rescue one, which is like good for getting you into the parasympathetic state. That's the one I meditate to most of the time. But NewCalm, check it out, improvementwarriorfitness.com/NewCalm, and the code is welcome10, all caps. So whenever you are stressed, your body is going to produce more cholesterol. So that's what I'm thinking, that I was just more stressed before it. So, but 217 is pretty low. In the 2023, what was it? Well, 2023, I don't have the numbers because I think my kids lost one of the pages. But let's see, 2022, I was at 267, and 2021, I was at 285. So, and that's obviously when they want you to get on statin drugs, but statin drugs trigger off the LDL cholesterol, which is bad because LDL cholesterol will be made in response to that stress to help put out the fires, basically. And if you don't have enough firemen to put out those fires, then that's when bad things happen. Heart attacks, strokes, all kinds of bad things. All right. The other things that were off, my vitamin D was a little low, so it was 63. Optimal is 60, but when you're standing outside from April to October, maybe even November, in Kaniki, that's unacceptable. So usually I'm 70, somewhere between 76 and 79. Last year I was at 79. I believe it was because 3 weeks before I gave the blood, I did a Power Red donation, which is just a blood donation, but they take twice as much for the Power Red, and they also take your plasma. And they say that recovery is like 110 days for that. So that's why I think my iron was low, and that's why I think my vitamin D was low, but I need to do some more research on the vitamin D and iron. But I assume because hemoglobin is a form of iron that is very much connected and whatnot. Triglycerides 57, HDL was 82, 2022 it was 84, and 2021 it was 93. So, and then for reference, last year testosterone was only 422. So what I did with this year, because I heard that UVB lowers testosterone, so what I did was I bought a cup, not like a jockey cup or a sport cup, but like just like I forget what it was made out of, silicone or something, that I just put over my balls to not get it irradiated by UVB. When UVA is just out, or when sunrise is out, I let my balls get struck by it as much as possible. But I did that, and then every morning I would do red light with my mini red light on my balls. Yeah, and comparatively, It was 422 last year, so 813, almost doubled. 422 in 2024. In 2022, it was 728, and 2021, it was 595. And I believe that was because I was doing some stupid diet where I was only eating like 1,700, 1,800 calories, just trying to get as ripped as possible. But I forgot that when you do lower your calories, your testosterone is going to crash. So, yeah. Okay. But that was it. Oh, the one other number that was off was my creatinine, BUN creatinine ratio. So it was at 16.8, which is usually high. Last year was 15.8, which was still high. And then 2022 it was 11, and 2021 it was 10. So not sure why that is going off. So that's basically like getting the hydration status of the mitochondria. So maybe I'm not drinking enough water. So gotta up the water intake. But yeah, so those are the labs. So the one thing I am doing with the Kaniki now is I used to just wear it 24/7. Never took them. Whenever I did my cold bath, I would change it to the next Kaniki, hand wash it, and then change it to the next Kaniki every time I did my ice bath. But now it's basically the only time I put it on is when I go out to do the work outside in my outdoor office, or when I'm getting UVA and doing my post in the early morning. So even with sunrise, I don't wear it anymore. When I go to sunrise, I'll take my clothes off with my short shorts, and I'll just pull the balls out to expose them to the sun. So been having to go to different places now to get it because because sunrise is right now. It's right after I go and drop her off at the bus. So I'm in front of another house, and I'm still doing that. So I don't really give a shit what people think, because I'm pretty sure indecent exposure is you have the intent to show that. So, but if people want to take a look at my bowls, take a picture of my bowls, I don't really fucking care. And then what I do with my butt, when there's no school, I will go to my spot, and then I'll just turn around, and then I'll just drop my pants. So my entire butt is exposed. So once you reach that level where you don't care anymore about that, I mean, I would take a shit in the middle of the street if there was a toilet there, just to get more sunshine. So reach that level, you are a dangerous person. And in order to be a dangerous person, you cannot accept the real ID. So that is a real thing. Look it up. Reject real ID. Dr. Andrew Kaufman is a good person to follow on Instagram. He's going over that a lot. I'm posting a lot on that. I posted 3-4 stories the last 3 or 4 days. But if you accept that, then we are basically fucked in this country. UK they're going to be pushing hard to get these people to do it. Like I said, I think on the last podcast, by the end of this parliament, whenever that is, if you don't have the real ID, they say you cannot work in the UK. But I think there's going to be an uprising, and I think this is going to be one of the big starts to the freedom movement, the freedom revolution around the world. But reject real ID, and reject the visual scanner when you go to the airport. Okay? You don't have to accept it. If you put your license on the thing, then you have to do it. So make sure you tell them before you hand them the license, I do not want my photo taken. Okay, so that's important. So that's how they get you. I mean, yeah, so it's stupid how they do all that stuff. But otherwise, that is it for this introduction. I know we went a little long, but enjoy this daylight savings time. There's a Q&A at the end where we talk about things not in relation to daylight savings. So enjoy that. But otherwise, share this out to anybody who needs to hear it and take action, because daylight savings is coming for most of us. But otherwise, enjoy the podcast. Don't forget to rate and review. And if you all do want to support the podcast a little further, Patreon. Become a patron on Patreon, Improvement Warrior Fitness. Excuse me. ImprovementWarriorFitness.com/Patreon. But otherwise, enjoy the podcast. Stay strong. Stay positive. Be the Improvement Warrior. Hey, what's up? Improvement Warrior, Jason Yun, back with you again. Thank you for stopping by and welcome to the webinar of the week for the Improvement Warrior University group. Today we are going to be talking about daylight savings time and why it sucks. So I will be hosting the webinar and the Q&A and take you through a health journey. So a real health journey. I was basically lied to, as most people were, about what it takes to get healthy and be healthy, and it is why I never stop searching for the real truth. And I always take action on what I learn, and I either implement it, discard it, or save it for later. If you are watching the replay, don't forget to invite your friends and family into the group so they can catch all the past and future webinars. So we do this every Thursday, 7:34 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you do need additional help or coaching, reach out to me, DM me, DM me, I will, or email me. So you should be on the email list as well, in case Facebook decides to censor the truth, which they have been known to do. And I will find what the best fit for you is based on your goals and your starting point. So what is up, Ian? How are you doing? So,
doing good.
Awesome. All right. So getting started here, just finished the introduction there. So daylight savings time, it sucks. And after doing some research on it, I found out it sucks even more, because it's a government thing, and we'll get into it and I'll discuss all of that. But so daylight savings time, it was basically created in 1918 to save the United States energy. But obviously we are not using energy the same as we were in 1918. So we got the birth of daylight savings time because the U.S. government adopted it in an effort to save energy. It was an unpopular move back then, and it was repealed just 2 years later by the federal government. States still had the option to continue to observe it, and most of them have. Then in 1942 to 1945, during World War II, President Roosevelt enacted a year-round daylight savings time in order to conserve energy for World War II. And then from 1945 to 1966, there was a lack of federal regulation, so that led to a lack of consistency regarding the observance of daylight savings time across the United States. So then in 1966, we got a law on the time. So it was the 1966 the Uniform Time Act. And it established regulation of daylight savings time, and it provided states with strict rules to follow if they choose to observe it. And in 2007, things got a little worse because of the Energy Policy Act that was passed in 2005. And that act extended daylight savings time an additional 5 weeks in the United States, beginning in 2007. Okay. So just some stats on daylight savings time. So between 1986 and 1995, Fatal accidents rose 17% the Monday following the switch to daylight savings time. So it usually happens on Sunday at 2 a.m. So 17% big in fatal accidents, so the people who died. So that's not counting all the non-fatal accidents as well. Over 9 million in electricity cost due to daylight savings time. So this tells you what the government's true goal is. It's all about the money. So this was so the electric, well, it's all about the money. So a 2006 report found daylight savings time in Indiana led to a 1% overall rise in electrical and residential electricity use in Indiana, which cost the state an extra $9 million. And researchers said that cost could be even higher in other regions of the US. So places where energy is more costly. So like California, New York, and stuff like that. There's also, this is from the National Bureau of Economic Research, there's a 68% increase in days lost due to workplace injury. That was from 1983 to 2006, that study ran from. And then you also have, from the American Psychological Association, you have a 25% increase in heart attacks. 2014 study showed that the hour of sleep lost when switching to DST can increase your risk of a heart attack by 25%. And there's 11% spike in the number of depression diagnoses after autumn time, the autumn time change, which we're headed up to here this Sunday. So the University of Copenhagen authored the paper, and they found from 1995 to 2012, there was 185,419 depression diagnoses. And I'm assuming that is just in that area, so the Denmark area. So, yeah, daylight savings time really puts a hamper, and it really destroys the circadian rhythm. And if you have watched the 14 pillars or the 13 pillars of health webinar, which you should have, it's in the guides section. Basically, circadian biology is the #1 factor for health. And one of the main problems with it is we are, a lot of people, if they're working normal jobs, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, they're waking up when it's dark, and then they're coming home when it's dark. So still have yet to find somebody who says that they like it when it starts getting dark at 5 o'clock. So I was looking at the my sunrise and time and date thing here. So it basically tells me when sunrise is and when sunset is. And so basically we're going on the 5th. So daylight savings time will happen on the 6th. And I'm at the 40th latitude. It happens at sunrise is at 8:05, and then it goes to 7:06 the next day, and then sunset is 6:24, and then it goes to 5:22. And then it starts getting darker. It goes all the way down to, I think, December 2nd, 5:05 is sunset, and then it stays at 5:05 until the 13th when it starts going up. So yeah, and then we head into the winter solstice, and then also when that, oops, I lost my Zoom. There it is. Yeah, so when that happens, we, in the northern states, there's a lot of, obviously I just read the depression in Copenhagen, but in the US, depression is huge, especially in the winter and the late fall months, because it is getting dark so early, which causes people to turn on their artificial lights at night. So remember, the blue light webinar was Improvement Warrior Podcast, episode number 79, if you want to check that out.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Blocking blue light is one of the most critical things we need to do in our modern world if you want to either remain healthy, reverse a disease, or become the optimal version of yourself. There are a lot of companies out there that are now making it more stylish than ever to join the ranks of biohackers across the world. Oh, and blue blockers are absolutely essential for keeping your dopamine levels up and exiting the matrix. I have personally been using Midwestern Light Therapy as my go-to errand and grocery store, as well as my after sunrise glasses. Check them out, as well as the others I have used and recommend at improvementwarriorfitness.com/blueblockers. For Midwestern Light Therapy, use code IMPROVEMENTWARRIOR10 for 10% off, and you can also pick out blue light-free light bulbs as well as red light therapy devices. Remember, your light environment is more important for your health than the food you eat or the exercise that you do.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
I will say it again and again. Your phone is one of the biggest detriments to your health due to the non-native EMF and blue light coming from it. However, with One Tap Zap app from solar-powered Rusty, you can take care of blue light, Wi-Fi, flickering effect, all in one simple press of a button. One Tap Zap, you can disable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth completely. Get rid of your connection with the cellular tower, apply a blue light filter, reduce screen flickering, especially over low brightness, achieve sound sleep almost immediately, improve your mitochondrial health significantly, and maintain eye health with no more dry eyes, and numerous health benefits as well. One Tap Zap, you can check it out at improvementwarriorfitness.com/solar powered. Unfortunately, it does not work for Android, just iPad, iPhone, and Macs at this time. But check it out, improvementwarriorfitness.com/solar powered.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
The government knows what they're doing. It's why they did a research study, I believe it was in the 50s or 60s. Carlos Delgado did the research. He found basically if you put people in front of artificial light and in front of non-native EMF from a television, you can basically program them to think and do whatever you want. And they did the study in monkeys, and then they repeated it in humans. So when you live your life indoors all the time, and it's getting darker and darker, and you have to keep using the lights, it's going to continue to destroy your circadian biology and your circadian rhythm. And once that is destroyed, then you have a cascade effect where things just start falling like dominoes. So that's the circadian rhythm falls because you're under blue light and you're under non-native EMF and all this stuff. And all that stuff is causing you to lose sleep. It's destroying your melatonin. It's spiking your cortisol. So it's kind of like opposite. So cortisol is supposed to spike in the morning, and it's supposed to gradually go down until at nighttime it's not supposed to be there. And melatonin is supposed to be lower in the morning, and it's going up, up, up until we get the activation of sunset and later PM sun, and then sunset, and then that basically tells melatonin to turn on, so then we can be put to sleep. But things start going awry when we are living under blue light, and it's starting to be earlier, and so melatonin gets destroyed, and basically sleep gets destroyed. And whenever sleep gets destroyed, that is basically you. getting destroyed. So we can't get into the deeper stages of sleep. So like stage 3, which is REM sleep, and then deep sleep, which is stage 4. Those are the sleep stages that are going to help us go through the 2 change programs that we have. So you've got autophagy, which is basically cellular and mitochondrial recycling. So we're taking out the bad, putting in the good. And then you have apoptosis, which is basically cell suicide. So that's basically just taking out the trash, find the bad ones and just take them out. And then we can make new cells and new mitochondria. So we're constantly regenerating. But when the circadian rhythm dies and gets destroyed, that process is also destroyed in us. So, so some things that we can do to basically help combat daylight savings time and also just be better in overall health. It's the same things you probably heard me talk about, but let's go over them again. So these are in random order. So rise, wake up about the same time and go to bed about the same time. So this really helps to sync your circadian rhythm and sync your body clocks more. You can start to go to bed a little earlier before the daylight savings time hits and waking up a little bit earlier before it happens. So that's the same advice if you were traveling somewhere where a time zone is different than yours, especially if you're traveling into the future. So you're going from, say, Pacific time to Eastern time. So there's a 3-hour difference. Sun. So the sun is getting weaker as the fall is coming, especially in the northern latitude. Southern, I believe it's completely opposite. But sunrise every single day. That is basically the circadian rhythm. That's the best circadian rhythm setter. Okay, so has to do with our melanopsin, which is our blue light antenna. Melanopsin should be just as common as water, in my opinion. So it's the blue light antenna. It's the reason why artificial blue light is so bad for us, because artificial blue light doesn't have the red that the sun always has with it, and it doesn't have UV, doesn't have UVA, UVB, all those frequencies. So that is melanopsin destruction is basically associated with every single disease, because then it destroys your melatonin, which destroys your sleep, which then eventually destroys the human. So sunrise every single day, UVA every single day. So UVA light comes out once the sun gets to about an angle, or gets to an angle of 10, and it helps to make and create melatonin. So it's actually made from serotonin. So serotonin is made from certain amino acids, and then serotonin makes melatonin in us. And then it is when the sun rises, the color temperature is approximately 1800, and then when the sun sets, the color temperature is approximately 16,000. Okay, and it varies on your latitude. It varies time of the year, but those lower color temperatures are basically setting the circadian rhythm, setting it up for the day, and then the higher temperatures later at night is basically turning on or causing the activation of melatonin to help us fall asleep and get to sleep. But if we're under artificial light, then that melatonin gets destroyed, and then cortisol spikes, and then we've got a big hormone problem. So it knocks all the other hormones out of whack. And one of the hormones that knocks out of whack is insulin in our blood sugar. So your blood sugar can rise without any food at all. It can just have artificial light on the eyes and skin. So, so getting the sunrise, getting the UVA, and then taking breaks throughout the day. So you're getting midday sun, which has vitamin D, which is UVB, but UVB, where I live, and also most northern states, it's going away. So it goes away for me for November 20th. If you live lower, I forget the actual latitude, but places like Florida, Arizona, Texas, in the tropics, they have vitamin D year round. And then, so taking breaks throughout the day to get out and get that sun, and then trying to get the sunset, and trying to get once UVB goes away, trying to get the UVA later in the day, because that's going to start the activation of melatonin to come out when you're asleep and help put you to bed, help you put you to sleep so you can get into the deeper stages of sleep. And you want to block blue light at night, well, especially at night, but especially when it's getting darker and darker earlier. And I mean, one of the worst offenders for blue light is the car headlights. So I mean, they're making car headlights more and more annoying and more toxic. I don't know what you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. The ones that just blind you, and they're not even on high power. Those are just horrible for your health. So yeah, blocking blue light at night. So blue blockers. So I always wear, it's been Midwestern Light Therapy is the one I use most of the time, but in the comments below, I'll put some resources down there for you to check out the blue blockers. But there's different kinds. So there's like a day blocker you can wear for computers and for computer screens if you have to see color and whatnot. Otherwise, the night ones, there's orange, which typically blocks up to 500 nanometers, and then there's the red ones, which I have on right now, which blocks up to 550 nanometers of light. So it's blue. 550 blocks all the blue and some green, because some green light will affect you as well. So yeah, and with your computer, there's other things that you can do. So I have Iris on my computer, which is a software program, and basically I keep it at 0 all the time, unless there is like some website puts things in like orange or red and I can't see them. I'll turn it on just a little bit so I can actually see that. But Iris is a real good program. I think it's only $15 and you have it for life. But there's also a company called Waken, which makes like little amber or red screens that you can just put on your computer and you can just take it off whenever you want. So I'll put that somewhere in the comments so you can watch that or take a look at that. And the other tips that I had before we go into that, so blue light it's everywhere, and it's probably the biggest problem that we have, because it is everywhere. And melanopsin is in our skin, it's in our eyes. Dr. Becker found our bones irradiating blue light, so it's probably in our bones as well. But yeah, so if you are constantly exposed to blue, you can be in the sun for 4 hours a day, but if you are not blocking the light at night, you're still getting your melatonin destroyed, you're still getting everything destroyed. So that it's probably the most important thing. Everything is connected. If we don't do a combination and stay consistent with the combination of things, then things are going to fall apart. It's like me. 5 years ago, I used to think I was the healthiest person in the world because I worked out 5 days a week and I ate paleo or keto. Okay, which is not true. So there's certain things you have to do, and blocking blue light is one of them. I know that the fact of, I don't want to wear orange glasses, I don't want to wear red glasses. You're going to have to get over that. And one way you're going to have to do that is raise your dopamine levels. How do you raise your dopamine levels? see the sunrise every day, see the UVA every day. Because blue light is the one thing that destroys dopamine levels the fastest. Dopamine is the thing that makes us curious. It's the thing that makes us think. Okay, so thinking is basically a lost art. I forget who said the quote, but he said basically most people don't think these days. They just rearrange their prejudices and call it thinking. But they eventually come out with the same belief, the same prejudice, the same opinion. That's my 2 cents on blue light. And one thing that if you are exposing yourself to too much blue light, is you cannot raise your vitamin D levels. Vitamin D level is basically a snapshot into your immunity and your overall health. And if that stays low, and the older you get, then the more problems you're gonna face. So that's when you could possibly die from getting the flu or pneumonia or something like that. All right, so moving on. Another tip is eat seafood. Okay, so seafood has DHA in it, which is the number one food you should be consuming. I have 2 webinars I've done on DHA. So one is the Epipaleo webinar part 1, and then Epipaleo part 2 goes all over DHA. Part 1 is in the nutrition guides, and part 2, I believe I hooked it up, but I'll hook it up somewhere. It's one of the premium ones, but so DHA is basically, it basically takes the sunlight, the natural light, turns it into a DC electric current. So the DC current is what works on the opposite side of our sleep with autophagy and apoptosis, which is our recovery regeneration programs. So DC current is our recovery regeneration program while we're awake. So DHA takes that and it basically makes a current that goes through us, an electric current. So we're electric beings, and then we're also magnetic beings, because everywhere there's an electric current, 90 degrees to that, there's a magnetic current, and vice versa. So if we lose our electricity, that's like losing our juice. We're going to lose our battery. We're going to get wind down. We're going to need coffee to get through the day. We're going to need more processed carbohydrates and stuff that will give us like a quick energy boost. So we'll feel like we're getting energy, but in the long run, it basically just runs us lower and lower and lower, and we need more of those artificial stimulants. So, and I know a lot of people, they say they don't like seafood, don't like the taste. Just, you have to get over it. I have a smoothie recipe. I can hook that up as well. Basically, I just put sardines in it. Sometimes I put tuna, salmon, whatever. You can't taste it, so that's one way you can get it in. But otherwise, it changes your taste. So before I started all this stuff, I used to love burgers and steak, and I would always do that more and over fish. So I would always hate eating sardines. But now it's like, whenever I go out, it's usually, I'd say 80% of the time, I'm ordering fish, ordering seafood. Your tastes just change because you're going to feel better. Okay? Because it's what we need basically to capture electrons. So that's another thing about DHA, is it helps us capture electrons. Electrons are basically our free energy. Okay, which leads me into the next tip, which is grounding, earthing. Basically, getting your bare feet or your bare skin in the ground. So either grass, sand, natural bodies of water, concrete. The only thing I know it doesn't work on is asphalt. But electrons need to always be coming into the body. So it's said that all diseases can be said to be an electron steal syndrome. So you're losing more electrons than you're putting in. Okay, so if you are a coffee drinker, or you are a person who cannot change your diet to a healthier diet, then you probably have electron steal syndrome. You probably are leptin resistant and whatnot. So yeah, grounding is vital in this day and age because we're so disconnected. Everything we do, they put little babies in. They have little baby shoes. Little babies don't need little shoes. Okay, they should be walking around, crawling on the grass and whatnot. But everything we do is basically disconnected. So I know I had a picture showing because we used to have all of our shoes, the soles of our shoes used to be leather. And if you do have leather soled shoes, and you're walking on concrete or you're walking on grass, you're basically grounded. But everything now is rubber, okay, or it's non-leather, okay, it's non-conductive, so it's basically sapping our energy and destroying us. And then next point is good drinking water, and obviously fluoride-free, no tap water. You should never be drinking that ever again. It steals electrons from you, and fluoride is a dielectric blocker, so it's not good for your teeth. Okay, let's just put it that way. It's just something you should get out of your life. The colder you can get the water, the better, because that's going to have more oxygen. It'll have more electrons for you. So that's another way you can get more electrons into you. And also you can ground as well. So I'm grounded here. So I just got this clip-on thing here, and you just clip it on, and it is connected to a copper wire that goes outside to a copper ground rod that's just stuck in the ground. I don't like those things where you actually are grounded and you plug something in. So I don't trust those. If you want to tempt it, then go ahead. But especially when you're sleeping, I wouldn't do that. And I also have a ground rod that I use connected to a metallic sock that I use when I'm sleeping. So I'm grounded a lot. So, when I'm sleeping, when I'm in my office, and then when I'm outside in my outdoor office. So grounding is one of my, let's say, top 3 or 4 things that I do for health. All right. And then there's 3 more here. So a more ketogenic, low carb, high fat, and higher protein nutrition plan, because when you do switch that daylight savings time, it's getting darker, it's getting colder, and when that is occurring, the foods around you should not be growing as vitally. So there shouldn't be blueberries or strawberries growing, and you should be eating lower carb, higher fat, and higher protein. So fat after seafood is the most electron dense food as well. It's all about electrons. So putting those electrons in the body. You'll know if you're not getting it, if your energy is getting low and all that stuff, or you're getting bigger in certain areas. So we're supposed to get the fattest. We're supposed to be the fattest in mid to late winter, and then we're supposed to lean out. We're supposed to be the leanest during the winter. So I didn't put cold on here, but that's also one thing that we can do. So obviously, if you're grounding and you're getting that sunshine, you're outside in the cold. So try and get as much cold as you can, because that's going to increase your magnetism, which is going to increase your electron flow. So it's going to basically help you be more energy efficient. Okay? And cold also shrinks mass. Okay, so it shrinks fat. And so 2 more here. Don't get sucked into dopamine lowering activities. I mentioned dopamine earlier. So things like your phone, especially if it's blue lit. I always recommend turn your phone to red. Turn your phone to red. And you can adjust the settings, but it should be red most of the time, because that color temperature of the phone is 5,500 to 6,500 Kelvin, which in terms of the sun, from sunrise to sunset, it's basically right about here, so about 12 noon to 1 p.m. And every time you're looking at the phone, that's giving you the brain signal. It's 12 p.m. It's 1 p.m. Okay, is that time to go to bed? No. So it's really bad at night, but it's really bad in the early morning, because you just screwed your circadian mechanism. You screwed your circadian rhythm up. Okay, so your phone, video games. I just learned that some video game makers will put like electrodes and stimulants or pads and stuff to measure kids and adults' reaction to certain things on the screen. So they're trying to make it as addicting as possible for them. So that's just it's pure evil. So I was a huge video game addict. So I started with Atari, then Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, Atari Lynx, Sega CD. I had them all. And yeah, it's just, you come home from school and basically I was playing it until dinner and then playing it after. And I got my myopia probably around the 5th or 6th grade. So nearsightedness. Because my computer screen was basically, I was like 18 inches from my computer, or the computer game, or the video game screen. And TV, okay. I mentioned Waken earlier, so they do make screens for the TV as well. We've got one on the TV now. I don't watch TV too often, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but wife is in there. She is not as religious, or she's not, unless I put them on her, she usually won't put them on. So I have to physically get a pair and put them on her. But she makes the kids put their blue blockers on. So we just have an amber screen. They make amber and red screens. She won't let me put the red screen on, but obviously I would like to. So red blocks 100% of the blue light. But we just have an amber one, which blocks about 80%. So that's better than nothing. And the new TVs that they're making, I mean, they're making, it's just like, I don't know. It's like you're stuck in a casino and your brain doesn't know what time it is because there's no windows, there's no clock in there. And it's basically just screwing you the entire time. And then the other lower dopamine activities is high sugar. So obviously these things that I just mentioned, the phone, the TV games, the video games, the TV, the high sugar, they actually raise your dopamine, but then comes crashing down. Okay, so the only way to properly and naturally raise your dopamine is from sunlight. Okay, but the biggest extreme of dopamine is like a cocaine or a heroin user. So when they sniff it or shoot it up, I mean, they get super high, and that's super high dopamine, but then they have a horrible crash, and then they're looking for their next hit and looking to get the money to do that, which is not obviously the way we want to live. Those activities they're kind of more in the middle, and they're more accepted, but it's like, where do you want to go? Do you want your health do you want to be healthy, or do you want to be stuck in a hamster wheel, basically? And the hamster wheel keeps getting lower and lower with your energy and your dopamine and your ability to be a natural human. All right, and then the last tip is basically nasal breathing. So breathing is number 2 on the 14 pillars of my 14 pillars of health webinar. And yeah, so mouth breathing is associated with basically every disease. So you'll lose electrons. You will not be able to get into deep sleep. So I always recommend taping your mouth when you sleep. And it dehydrates you a lot quicker. Okay, so even when you're working out, try and breathe through your nose as much as possible. If you're doing high intensity intervals, then towards that, it's going to get harder to do it. But if you are able to do it, then you're going to see a huge increase in your VO2 max and your ability to perform as well. So sometimes I would, for my boxing conditioning workouts, I would tape my mouth. So when I first did it, I had to really dial back the intensity, but then I was able to take it back up pretty quickly. So that's all the tips that I had, and that basically covers the suckiness of daylight savings time. But basically it's dark a lot, and we need sunlight. I think sunlight sunlight does. It makes us happy. So the UVA light creates beta endorphins. So when you're out there, it's basically your body telling you you're supposed to be addicted to me. You're supposed to be out. Okay? But in the government does, or your state does stupid things, then that happens. So I did post a Indian proverb earlier. It said that somebody asked a Native American what his opinions of daylight savings time was after he was told what it was. He said only the government would believe that you could cut a foot off of a blanket and then sew it onto the end of the blanket and have a longer blanket. So that's basically daylight savings time in a nutshell. But that is all I have. Do we have any questions?
Did you answer the one that I had dropped in the Q&A?
About the Jack mentioning the sun gaze? Yes, I did. I know he does sun gaze at sunrise and sunset, but I know he is a doctor, so he can lose his license if some idiot complains.
So if he says that he actually gazes at it, he could lose his medical license?
I don't know. I know in California, Dr. Thomas I forget his last name, but he lost his medical license because he recommended something other than surgery, chemo, and drugs for cancer. So they took his license away.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So
we saw it happen all during 2020.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm sure he has to, especially when something is public, he's got to be more careful about what he says. But I know he's mentioned many times on his member Q&As that he's staring at the sun and whatnot. But I always recommend and you got to build it up, because I know here we're not getting over 2 UV now, so I can basically look at it all day. And I remember 2 years ago when I went to Hilton Head for it was July, and basically towards the end of sunrise, it started getting hard for me to actually look at the sun. So it depends on where you are and how strong your eyes are. So it's basically like building up the solar callus. You've got to build up the eye strength to be able to do it. But for me here in the summer, I sun gazed at 4 or 5 UV. But I'm sure if I went to like Mexico or something, that wouldn't happen. So it's just a matter of building it up, building the strength up.
Okay. Does it help with your vision if you have vision problems?
I think it does. Because I know I posted in the circadian rhythm transformation, I posted that podcast with Nick Pinal, the EMF guy, the myopia cure. He had an interview with a myopia cure guy. I think it's nmyopia.org or something like that. I'll post it find it and post it in the comments as well. But he had a way of reversing myopia, and he did not talk about sun gazing, and he did not talk about blocking blue light. So it is possible, but because it was that podcast that actually made me realize that eyeglasses are really, really bad. And I always thought it was the contacts and the sunglasses that were worse, but apparently eyeglasses are on the same level. And like the difference between like the really premier eyeglasses and like everyday or cheaper version is like literally less than 10 cents. So it's another industry where it's all about the money. Because it's basically, I mean, glasses, contacts, it's basically just a mask. They're just masking the real issue and just solving the symptoms, which is you can't see, but there's a reason you can't see. And if we fix that, then you don't need the glasses, you don't need the contacts. So kind of like the drug industry. So if drugs actually worked, you wouldn't need to be on it for the rest of your life. Let's change your lifestyle and get you healthier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I've gone a week without taking an allergy medicine.
Awesome. How's that going?
Not too bad. I don't really itch too much. I started taping my mouth shut, and so all is well.
Cool.
The only thing that gets me up at night is my older dog. She's blind, and she's gotten in the routine of the 2 a.m., 3 a.m. bathroom breaks.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. You might try. Does she sleep on the bed with you?
she did, but she can't jump anymore, so she typically sleeps on the floor.
Okay. You might try getting like a grounding sheet and having her lie on that. So that might help her sleep through the night.
Okay, where do you get the grounding sheet from? Is that from like Amazon or something?
Yeah, you can get it from Amazon. Just search grounding sheet. I know you can. You can just connect a grounding cord, and then maybe put like some metallic tape where she would sleep, and then you connect the tape to the cord, and then that would make it grounded.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but always something to try, because that time 12 to 3 is supposed to be the most important time for regeneration, autophagy, and apoptosis.
Yeah, I'll try that. I need to call my water company because you were talking about the fluoride thing. Mm-hmm. Is there a specific, because I looked up our water quality report and it shows like a 4 on MCLG and MCL. I don't know exactly what that means. I also bought some strips, and it's more towards like the purple, indicating there's not much in the water. But it doesn't have a wide range. There's only like four boxes, and it's like 0, 10, 25, 100 plus. So
Yeah.
and again, I don't know how that compares to, anything else, but
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the MCG is. Yeah, I just know. If you want to get as much fluoride out as possible, and then obviously the other things like lead, cadmium, chlorine, bromine. Yeah, because fluoride and bromine.
yeah, it even listed cyanide.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I was stunned to see that one. It says it's discharged from plastic and fertilizer factories and steel and there's trace amounts of cyanide in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I know they found. They found like birth control hormones and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, because I was looking through the reports and I found one back in 2017 talks about specifically fluoride, and it says for more information to call them. It says some home water treatment units are also available to remove fluoride from drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try and call those numbers and see what they got.
Okay, cool. All right. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you being here, Ian. And if you are watching the replay and you do have specific questions, please let me know. And I'll get this up in the replay guide, and any resources, or the resources that I can remember, I will put in the comments down below. But if I forget one and you want to know it, just let me know. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Till then, have a great day. Stay strong, stay positive, be the improvement warrior. That concludes this episode, Improvement Warrior Podcast, episode number 82 on daylight savings time. Don't forget to share this podcast out to anybody that you feel needs to hear it. And most people are affected by DST, so please share it out. Also, take a screenshot and tag me on social media so I know that you're listening, and I really appreciate it. I'd also really appreciate it if you could leave a 5-star review on either Apple or Spotify. And also, if you are not subscribed to Improvement Warrior Podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It does help the podcast reach more people so we can change their lives and circadian rhythm. More and more companies are coming out with blue light-free options to help us become and eliminate blue light from our life. And one company that I have recently just got is my daylight computer. It is a tablet and I absolutely love it. So blue light free. When you're inside it's more amber. When you take it outside it's more black and white. But it is awesome. I use it every single day. And yeah, the only thing I can't do with it, it does not have video capabilities, so I still need my other computers for that, but otherwise this thing is a game changer. And I actually get more sunlight with it because now I can just take my Ethernet cord very easily. Instead of having to take my laptop or my desktop, I take it out to the back porch so I can get late UVA and sunset. So even more sunshine. But blue light free computer. It is not EMF free, but it does connect to Wi-Fi, but we don't use the Wi-Fi, we use the Ethernet. And the other awesome thing is my kids love it too. So it's another way that I can get them outside for more sunlight. Check it out. Daylight Computer, improvementwarriorfitness.com/daylight. You will not regret it.
If you would like to support this podcast, then please visit me on Patreon to become a patron of Improvement Warrior Podcast. The podcast may be free for you, but it definitely is not free for me. So even if it's just $1 pledge or $3 or $50, I would greatly appreciate it. Just search on Patreon for Improvement Warrior or go to patreon.com/Improvement Warrior. It will also be listed in the show notes along with other ways to support the show via our sponsors or either via PayPal or Anchor support.